All right, Sean Zattel, FightHype.com here with the back-to-back PBC Prospect of the Year, 11-0, 8 knockouts. My man Joey Spencer, one of the best prospects of all of the United States, coming back on Fox, prime time on Fox on the undercard of Caleb Plant defending his world title, Caleb Truax. Joey, what's going on, man? You've been married in the last year. You've moved from Michigan to California. You have another big fight coming up. What's going on?
Yes, sir. Everything's good, man. We've been great. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Everything's been great. Just been training hard and looking forward to having a better year of fighting. Now that maybe we got this a better system to be able to fight during COVID and things like that. You know, COVID took a lot of the year last year for a lot of fighters, and I only got to fight twice, and so I'm hoping to have a more busier year this 2021. So I'm looking forward to starting it off here in Caleb Plant's card on Saturday night.
Now, man, you come from Michigan, from Linden, rural place, hunting deer. You hunt and all that. Are you going to go Hollywood on us by any chance, moving to California?
No, actually, I still live in Michigan. I'm just out here a little earlier for the fight, and but no, never. I'm never going to go Hollywood. I'm going to be in the woods pretty much as soon as this fight's done, and I'm looking forward to getting back home and getting back in the outdoors.
Because BoxRec has you listed as living in Cali now.
Yeah, I did notice that, and I was wondering what's up with that. But no, I think it was actually from back when I was living in, because when I turned pro, I was living in Cali over in the Bay. So, I think that was just never updated that I had moved back and started training back where I'm from in Michigan.
But, I mean, you fought on Fox primetime so many times already. Sure. I couldn't offhand even remember the number because it's been a number of times now.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, taking on Isaiah Selden, 18-fight veteran. What are you looking to show in this fight?
I'm just looking to show in all the ways that I've gotten better in the last year. I really feel like I've taken my game to another level, a higher level. Taken my conditioning to another level. Taken my boxing skill. Just really gotten comfy in the ring and sharp. And I'm just looking forward to. I think what I get to show really depends on what he brings to the table, and we'll see how far he's willing to go and what kind of shots he's willing to take. And what risks he's willing to take in this fight, because I think that has a lot to do with what I'm going to be able to show in response to him. So I've also, my shots are coming off more powerful than ever. So I think that'll be shown early in the fight. I think I'm going to be able to really land some heavy shots early in this fight. So whether he's able to take them or not is, kind of determines what more I'm going to be able to show in the later rounds, hopefully.
Do you think because he was stopped, he was knocked out for the first time in his career in late 2019 against White Chocolate, do you think he'll be less willing to engage because of that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. I think that maybe, that can be – he's had a knockout win since then. Mm-hmm. And so I think that maybe he's put it behind him, but knockouts definitely can sit in a fighter's head. So we'll see the way he's able to bounce back. I know, like I said, I'm hitting very hard right now, but we're fighting at the heaviest weight I've fought at is at 158. It's kind of like a catch weight situation because I'm usually fighting at 154, 156 type area. And that was a full middleweight fight. He's normally a full middleweight, mm-hmm. and he's a bigger, heavier set guy, and so is White Chocolate. So we'll see. Maybe that'll play something to him possibly being able to take the shots better in this fight. I know it's not going to be much different. I know it's going to be, some heavy shots landed, but we'll see if he's able to take them better, and that would just be better for me. And I think that's why they were looking to bring in a little bit heavier of a guy so that hopefully he can give me some more time.
Well, it's interesting, they call Nikita White Chocolate, but I've heard some people call you White Chocolate too in boxing.
Yeah, they're probably getting the white boys mixed up. There's only a few. There's only a few in the game.
Yeah, but is that in your mind at all, though, that to try and equal a first or second round KO?
Yeah, it's hard not to think that way, but at the same time, every fight is different. Every fight is different and things play out. I'm just looking to get a dominant. Like, if I get a dominant win and it goes 4 rounds, I'm not going to be like, oh, I didn't get the knock. You know what I mean? I didn't get the knockout in the first and the key. Every fight's different, I mean, I could name 100 fights where one guy beat this guy faster, and they both fought the same. But then once they fought, then the one who got the later stoppage or the decision win won the fight. It's every fight's different. Things play out different. Styles make fights. Every fight plays out in its own way. So as long as I get a dominant, good, sharp win, then I'm not really worried about how fast the knockout is.
I kind of feel bad bringing up critics because how I feel. I think you're a tremendous young fighter.
Absolutely.
But, and one of those critics you won over in Joe Goossen in your last one.
Yes.
But with that being said, why do you think 20 years old, undefeated, prospect of the year, why do you think you're getting a fair amount of criticism from boxing fans and hate?
You know what?
And all criticism isn't hate, but
yeah, absolutely. First of all, to bring up Joe, I honestly never found him as a critic. I really feel like Joe Goossen is more of just somebody who wants the best for me. I've always seen him as somebody who, it wasn't coming from a place of criticism, but more of a place of wanting, we've had a lot of conversations on the side where he's genuinely given me advice, and same as Lennox and things like that. So I never really saw those guys. Now, some of the previous commentators I've had in the past, one in particular, I'm not going to say names, definitely seemed to be criticizing me on a whole nother level. And it wasn't seeming to be in my best, my best interest. So to say that first, but then as far as, the criticism and the hate and things like that go, I don't see anybody not getting that. I don't think, you can be the best fighter in the entire world. And it's incredible to me sometimes. That's when I turned pro young and, I feel like I've been able to mature a lot in the last couple of years, and, just being in kind of somewhat of a limelight situation or having some kind of platform, you kind of teaches you to grow up a little bit faster and think differently. But one of the things that really stuck out to me is just it used to really bother me, because I'm just I just want everybody to like me and like, what I'm doing. And it actually caused me to have some lesser performances because I'm thinking so much about what's on the outside. And I haven't really had that problem in my last few fights, because I started to look around and be like, man, just for example, Caleb Plant, you can barely find a positive thing said about him. And I truly believe he's going to be pound for pound, but the way that he's underestimated. Floyd Mayweather, you know what I mean? Andre Ward, just look back and think about the type of criticism these guys got, and they all, speaking of Floyd and Andre, who are retired now, they rose above that and basically proved everyone wrong. And they still have criticism if you look and when their name gets brought up. So no one's exempt to it. No one can get away from it. No one's loved by everybody. Everybody has an opinion, and that's but they're watching, and regardless of if they like you or they don't like you, they're supporting the sport of boxing and your fights, whether they like you or don't like you. So I'm just concerned with what my coaches think and what my family thinks, and how we can get better. And I believe I'm getting better every fight. So I'm very confident with where I'm at.
Well, I'm happy you bring up the point you made about Joe, because all criticism definitely isn't hate, right? And do you think do you ever think your generation of fighters struggles with that? That, you know what I mean? That they start to consider just any and all criticism as hate.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I saw Andre speak on this a little bit. I think when it comes to somebody like Joe, who's, trained lots of world champs, you got somebody like, Andre Ward, or who's a commentator now, who's one of the best ever. You've got guys like that. And like when Lennox spoke on Joshua, I think what he was talking about when he said it was the situation where Lennox talked about Joshua, and Joshua said Lennox was a clown. Joshua, that's his, opinion. I don't obviously agree with, but that was their situation. But my point in bringing it up is like what Dre is saying is you got to be able to look at the people who have been there before, take what they're saying with a grain of salt, because they've been there, and you got to understand that even if it is said out of a wrong motive, maybe they're saying it to hate on you. You never know. I'm not talking about anybody specific, but I'm just saying it might be true though. And if you're so busy being on an ego trip to hear it, then, you might have lost out on something to learn from a great, or from somebody who has credibility. I don't think any fighter needs to take in what somebody outside of the ring or outside of the sport has to say about him.
Even
I don't
if
think
it's
that's
true?
something. Even if it's true, I don't think it has any, any place in a fighter's mind, because even if it is true, because you have too many things coming. If you look at everything, you know what I mean, you're going to have 100 different opinions. I've literally heard fighters talk about like, they were saying like I needed to work on this. I find myself like reading some comment online, and I find myself thinking about that during training instead of thinking about what my coaches want me to do. And that's a real thing, like if you have too many things coming through online, through social media, through things like that, it can cause you to get unfocused on what you need to be working on. So I think that there's certain things that you need to take from credible people and try to learn from. I feel like outside of that, you really need to try to block it out, and that's what I try to do. So I don't really see much of it.
And, moving on to the other fight that night, this Saturday, Caleb Plant defending against Caleb Truax. Do you expect – I know you said you think Caleb may very well be one of the pound-for-pound top 10. Do you think he'll have an easy time with Caleb Truax?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more of a showcase fight. I think that Caleb Truax is a good dude, and he's had a good career, but I think he's getting older, and this is kind of his, him phasing out of maybe coming into retirement soon. I think Caleb's coming up to his prime, and I think that's just going to match up. Now, I think that Caleb's tough, and he very well could make it a tough fight. So I don't know if I'd say showcase fight, but Caleb could definitely turn it into a showcase fight is what I'm saying. But Caleb Truax could also definitely has the potential to make it a tough fight and a tested fight. So it just depends on what each guy brings to this specific fight. I know Caleb always comes ready, and Truax I know is hungry as well to have a good last couple fights of his career, from what I heard him talking about in interviews and things like that. So I think it's going to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
What do you think of Caleb? 2 fights. I'm just going to throw them both at you at once.
Yeah.
Caleb versus David Benavidez, Caleb versus Canelo Alvarez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Caleb and Canelo, I've said a few different times, I really think that Caleb is a really bad fight for Canelo, or it's a really Canelo is one of the best in the world, of course, so it's not like he's going to be outclassed by anybody in the world right now. But I think as far as styles go, I think Caleb's got a really bad style for Canelo, because he's a mover with great defense, and he's a sharp puncher, sharp counter puncher, all the things that Canelo's kind of struggled with in the past, and people overlook how good Caleb's all those things that I just mentioned are Caleb's defense, Caleb's punching power, even the snap on his shots. He's got enough to buzz you. He's got enough to hurt you and keep you off. So I think that'd be a great fight. And I also Benavidez, Caleb, that's a 50-50 fight for me, leaning towards Caleb. To me, I think that because of his boxing
Boxer over the puncher, kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of my rule of thumb. Always is the guy who tends to box more. I usually give the edge to, but they're both great fighters, and they're both top of the food chain. So just anything can happen in a fight when you got guys that are on that level. But like I said, I'd have to give the edge to Caleb.
Because David is a great Chicano fighter like yourself, right, Joey? You got to flip that in there. For people who don't know, right. Joey is half Mexican. He is a Chicano warrior.
Right. No, I love the way David fights, man. I love the way they both fight. So that's like one of my – if anybody asks, people talk about Terrence Crawford and Errol a lot in that fight, wanting to see that happen, I think I would pick David and Caleb over that fight.
Ooh, I might be with you, Joey.
Because I love that fight, man. That would be just an explosive chess match. Plus, it'd be a fight. Like, they got so much skill, but they're also, both fight hard, and it'd just be a great fight.
And they hate each other.
Right. And, like, they got way more bad blood than Errol and Terrence do. That's more of like on a sport level, but these guys really have a problem with each other, and it would just be a really fun fight to watch for the fans,
I mean, it really is deeper with money and titles with them, I think, at this point, right?
For sure. I agree. Yep, I agree, man.
To the point where it's just a fight you don't want to lose. You never want to lose any fight, I imagine, as a fighter, right? But if you don't want to lose to that guy out of all.
No way.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be tough on the ego.